What's up, folks? Heinz Morning Update. September 26th, Monday. Crazy weekend across the pond. We'll get into that in a second. My over-under today is 37.11. Below that, cautiously bearish. Above it, I'm cautiously bullish. 718 quarters, your overnight high. 22 is your midpoint from yesterday. That could be a resistance level. Bulls need to get this above 63 at least, ideally above 77. That's a far cry. That's 100 points from now. So I don't see a lot on the upside, but those would be some of my targets. We have singles to clean up here at 37.50 and 40 in the 40s here. So we could watch those as targets to get those cleaned up and then come back down. We'll see if there's any sort of squeeze. As of now, this doesn't look good. An open below Friday's low would be bad, would be sad. So that's it. So I'm looking for 71 here overnight to hold on as it's trickling down now. 36.60. 36.39 is your June low, and then 36.20, and then what is that, 35.80. So if you look on the weekly chart here, we have that channel. We're holding that barely. Your 200-day on the weekly is 35.81. So that's kind of my next major I'm watching. So if we trickle down and open up below 60 or something happens, that would be my next target to come down. And you look on a volume scale, after this, here's your 3,900 level. Your 3680 is where we're at now. You kind of have a void here. You do have a stoppage at 3,500 basically. And then your next huge one is 3377, 75. So that's going to be a big, my next major level with the volume to hold. You also had 3,400 as this high here. So I don't know. We lose this level here, and do we trickle back down into this volume to base out and come back down? What if we do a COVID double O? I don't know. Here's your hourly. Your pivot 37.18, that smacked to the tick for the overnight high. So these are pretty good today. 37.77 or 76 goes with my 77 level. 36.53, I'd watch that. And then 35.95. So that's kind of what we're looking at. ES. Here's your daily. Again, we looked at, they kind of front ran that June low on Friday. As you can tell, it came down here, and then we had a blast up, and that just ripped faces off. We've kind of come back down. So let's see if we consolidate here, hold that 60 and come back. I don't know. Or we lose that June low, and then we start to head back down. So, Ralvol is 155, so there is some volume today. There was volume on Friday. So we'll see. A lot of people were hoping for a bounce today. So far, we have not seen it. Currencies. So here's a snapshot real quick of the Japanese. Here's the yen. So they did an intervention on the 22nd, and now we're right back to basically where they did it. So that it had kind of zero effect. The big story out of Europe last night, was the British pound. So here's your flash crash down to 95. Now we're at 107, almost 108 now. So it's quite a retracement. Again, currencies don't swing like this. So there's a lot going on. Anyway, they're about to speak in the next hour or so, I believe, and announce at least a 1.5% hike, if not a full 2-point hike, which is nuts. So we'll see if that happens. If both the euro and the pound can reverse a little bit, that would spike probably our equities. Relieve pressure on that dollar. So we'll see what happens. Watch the pound here and the euro, because this is heavily influencing our markets now. This is just crazy times. So basically, what's the overall theme from central banks is to devalue their currency to make their debt cheaper. But now we've hit a point where they're losing faith in their governments, and therefore now they've got to hike so their currencies don't crash. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We're in intervention mode. So this week is going to get real interesting with what's going on. Cash gap from Friday is 37.57, 37.27. I'd watch that. I don't know if we can get up there today, but that would be something I'd watch. Also, that 37.27 I would watch for as a resistance as well. Sometimes I'll park it short of that, clearing that gap. And then 36.36 is your June low. So that's kind of where we're at. Speakers today, we've got a ton of shit. What do we got? Fed activity index, not quite sure. Anyway, Fed. So we've got 1, 2, 3 speakers during this before 1 p.m. and then we have a 4 p.m. speaker. And then Tuesday is the same thing, like Fed. So this is just nuts. They're getting everybody out. This comes in at a very interesting time too, is that this is the last week of the month and the last week of the quarter. So this is kind of an important close. So we'll see what happens here. Again, downside, really looking at that 35.81 level. But we can see a bounce. So if they come, overseas and, the Brits come out and do a full 2-point hike and start to intervene, we could see this swing back. Any swing back will be short-lived, but that would put squeeze potential on, our markets as well. So careful shorting in the hole, careful getting too bearish because the reversal could be sharp and extreme, as we saw on Friday with this rip straight back up, right? That just ripped people's souls. They stopped it short. So anyway, just be careful. Make sure your entries are there and take profits. See profit, take profit. I wouldn't hang around because this is going to get swingy. This week's going to be nuts. Maybe we'll level out a little bit next month, but I don't know. This is there's too much going on the macro scene that's affecting everything. So again, keep your eye on those currencies and have a good day.